The Education Department in Limpopo lifting the ban on the sale of food outside schools. That prohibition was imposed after some pupils fell ill after consuming food at school. SABC News reporter Pimani Baloyi is at Ditsepu Secondary School, that's in Ga-Maja, and joins us now live. And Pimani, I'm sure there's relief there, but I wonder to what extent some of those who are selling this food are doing things differently this time around.
Good morning, Ayanda, and good morning to our viewers. Yes, there is some level of relief, Ayanda, but I wouldn't go that far to say there's a lot of relief, because as soon as we got to the school premises, we saw a group of hawkers, some not necessarily from this village and some who don't necessarily sell at the school, outside the school premises, stating that they haven't been working since the 28th of October, and they hope that because they've had the MECs coming, they hope there will be clarity around those guidelines that were sent out in that circular, giving them steps to follow to ensure that they are certified to sell, to resume their work at schools across the province. But Ayanda, one thing that you cannot do in Limpopo is speak about food that is eaten by children at school and not speak about government's food nutrition program that has been rolled out at many schools, qualifying schools across this specific province. Ayanda, I'm coming to you live, Ayanda, from the storage facility of Ditsepu Secondary School. This is where they keep the food. We do know that in this province, in Limpopo, children from qualifying schools that fall within that food nutrition program get 2 meals a day. That is breakfast and lunch from the school. But there were also questions. We've had the SGB Federation in the province stating that it is not fair to say children are getting sick from food that they consumed from hawkers. Have we looked at food from the food nutrition program? So right now we're inside this storage facility. I just want to show you how in this specific school, I think this is a 4-roomed house that is being used as a storage facility. You can see inside this locker, Ayanda, this is where they store some of the non-perishable food items, including your beans, your salt, as well as milk cartons, as well as cooking oil. But there are also trunks throughout this 4-roomed house which store things like your maize meal. We do know maize meal is a staple, specifically at people's homes, but also in this school nutrition feed program. From your breakfast, some kids get porridge with that milk that you see behind me, but also for lunch they get pap with relish. Some of the relish, you can see this tin stuff. This is some of the things that kids eat at the school. But I also want to show you this other trunk in which they store samp and rice, because this is also some of the other staple food items that children get in at schools across the province. But Ayanda, as you can see, this is a makeshift 4-roomed house which is currently being used as this storage facility where they store all these food items. Like I said, kids get a total of 2 meals every day at schools, and the department has said that they have guidelines. They also have rules that ensure that this food is stored, handled, and cooked in a safe manner. But to speak more about that, I'm joined by the Deputy Director General in the department, Dr. Mhlongo, to talk about this storage. Doctor, we've taken our viewers through the storage facility. This is just one. I'm sure other schools have different ones. Just take us through your rules in terms of safely storing food, and what is your assessment of this storage facility specifically?
Thank you so much. Well, we do have guidelines that we have circulated across all our quintiles 1 to 3 schools that are currently participating in the National School Nutrition Program. All the mothers who are appointed by the school governing bodies, they receive training as and when they appoint them, because they are not appointed forever. We appoint them in cycles of a period of a year, sometimes 2 years, and thereafter other group will be appointed. We have stated very clearly that SGBs across our schools, they should make sure that they get containers that can be able to store our food, because contamination can happen because there is wind. Some of the storage facilities that we have in our schools, They were not necessarily built together with the newly built classrooms. It's an improvisation that is coming from the SGBs, and some of them get donations.
In this specific school, there's a kitchen outside this facility where they use firewood. I've also seen a gas stove, which they say they use when it's raining and they cannot use firewood. Take us through your guidelines regarding, we've spoken about guidelines for storage, but for preparing in terms of cooking. And what training specifically do you take these food handlers through?
Well, the training, it's in the main for them to understand the hygiene, which is very critical, because whenever they arrive in the morning, they have to make sure that their cooking spaces are thoroughly cleaned. It is true that some schools are using gas, some are using firewood, because we are transferring money to all our schools wherein SGBs are supposed to buy either firewood or gas. So the training in the main is to say to them, make sure that all your pots are cleaned as soon as you have finished cooking, so that the following morning they will be ready.
Thank you so much, Doctor. That's Dr. Mhlongo from the Limpopo Department of Education, taking us through their guidelines to ensure that there's safety in the food that they give to their children. Ayanda, at this specific school, the MEC is leading a visit where she'll be interacting with hawkers. This, we believe, are the first cohort of hawkers who got permission to sell at schools. We've seen them in front of the school premises, but we've also seen others who say the process of getting this permission is cumbersome. They are yet to get that permission. They hope that they'll be able to get it by next year and resume their duties to sell at schools and feed their families. So we will be speaking to some of these workers, those who are operating and those who are yet to get that permission.